And we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is October 1st, and we've got a ton of news because we had some leftover from the weekend. We're on the Asian account, and we had a watch and learn, so I only have two things left to do. I need to win a single game with 100 mage and win 2 games whatsoever, and we can go ahead and open this pack. The main issue, I guess, is we'll just need to drop back down to my main account after we do the Spelunky on the European account if we still have some games to cover. But I'm gonna try and just burn through this list so that Wednesday we'll just have whatever games came out after I started streaming today and tomorrow to cover. Yeah, let's start with playing a hunter class game. Ideally, it would be nice if all 3 of my accounts got up to rank 20 today, but that's probably not going to happen. So let's start covering games. We have a game on Steam that's called Operation Lone Wolf. It's multiplayer only. It doesn't look too bad. It seems like it's probably an asset flip, but it does seem like it has a nice UI and somewhat consistent graphics. It really is just trying to be a CSGO clone though. And because it's a multiplayer game, I really don't have to do anything else because I'll never really play a multiplayer only game. And if I was going to play a CSGO game, I'd probably play CSGO. Operation Lone Wolf is 10% off for $16.19, which is way too expensive, and it's early access. TechRaptor has an article for us. Vile Monarch and Digital Devolver are getting dank with Weedcraft Incorporated, which is coming to the PC in 2019. So quickly. I picked the wrong card. Wait, I didn't pick the wrong card. I didn't pick the card at all. So it's a weed growing, weed industry tycoon game of some sort, which I feel like if I was gonna play this game, I probably would get in trouble with YouTube and get demonetized. And there's been so many of these types of management games out there. They're really a dime a dozen, no joke included. And this really is just a Digital Devolver joke game. I feel like half of Digital Devolver's games they release are never really that great. Even the ones that are potentially good tend not to get enough coverage or be long enough or big enough to matter.
To my side.
This ear infection I've got is driving me crazy.
Job's done.
Alright, I gotta focus. Next game we have on Steam is called Feed the Pets. It looks like garbage. It's an English and Russian game. It's 99 cents. It's a probably Russian troll game. Close that tab. Next game we have is called Candy Raid the Factory, which looks like an NES game of some sort. Let's see. Well, it looks like an NES style game.
I hunt alone. Job's done.
Let's see. Yeah, what this looks like a lot is Chip's Challenge. So Windows 95 style game. It's $11.99. It's way too expensive. Yeah, that price, Candy Raid the Factory, is not acceptable for consideration. Gamasutra has a listing. Get a Job Plastic Wax is hiring a lead VR developer. Plastic Wax is out of Sydney, Australia, apparently. Yeah, I've never heard of that company. Right. This. That. This might be a short recording at this rate. We've got a game called the Blue Zula VR Concert Series. Seems like what this is a virtual reality experience where people are playing music, but while people are playing music, you can also spray paint things and bowl and play pool. Like I don't understand at all what's. It seems like this is just a random combination of things. Alright, well, this game doesn't look interesting. It's early access, it's $6.99. Just too weird. If it was literally a $5 game that was focusing specifically on just here's a real world concert that we recorded in VR and you can watch it, that would be great. But it's not. It really feels like an asset flip type game, just adding random things. Gematsu Fitness Boxing, first details and screenshots. It's going to be the successor to the Wii series Shape Boxing. Let's try that again. Yeah, it seems like it's kind of a rhythm game that you'll be using the Joy-Cons for to swing your arms back and forth. Yeah, it's not a Wii game, a Switch game. Yeah, Fitness Boxing might be an interesting Switch game, particularly if you're into saving, burning a few calories while playing a video game.
Begin.
Gematsu has an article. Arika, A-R-I-K-A, discusses fighting EX layer for PC and crossplayer. Quote, sales of the PS4 version weren't the best, says Arika. Following a teaser and trailer. Last week, Arika has shared formal update on the newly announced PC version. Let's see. I'm trying to read this response. Okay, so basically the announcement here is they're not going to work on the update because they don't have enough money. Instead, they're going to work on the Steam version. So, fighting EX later, if you're waiting for the update, you're going to have to wait a lot longer. Well, that sucks. I think probably getting a bigger audience is probably the smart move to start with before you try to make the currently small audience happier. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Multi-Maker. It looks like it's a green and black Game Boy style looking game. And it's just a very simplistic puzzle game that is probably a troll game. It's English and Russian. 33% off for 66 cents. TechRaptor has an article. Call of Cthulhu is a one-way ticket to Lovecraft Island. Let's see. Is this game out yet, though, or is this just yet another mainstream video game journalist who's obsessed with Call of Cthulhu games? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Call of Cthulhu is also on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, launching October 30th, and PC, I think, probably on the 30th also.
Quickly.
So, yeah, Call of Cthulhu is not out yet. No reason to read an article about a game. It's not out. Gamatsu has an article, Last Labyrinth teaser trailer. A virtual reality adventure game due worldwide in the spring of 2019. Let me just see what the teaser trailer is about. It's supposed to be for PC, PS4, and Windows Mixed Reality. What it looks like is a horror escape room style game with just a bunch of puzzles. Not a terrible thought, certainly. There have been several of games like that that have been good.
Many options.
Or at least moderately good.
Choose soon.
But what's weird about this game is the main character that you can see, so not the character you're playing as, is this anime girl that doesn't make any sense why she's in this realistic looking world. And apparently you're telling her what to do because you're like chained to a chair and looking through like cameras, and so you're having to direct her actions.
To my side.
Let's see. What do I have here? Freezing trap. I'm gonna need to see a little bit more of this game later on for it to make any more sense. It's very odd to see an anime style green haired girl with red ribbons around her neck and wrists, which probably are to hide some kind of scars or the fact that she's dead in a realistic world or a horror environment on top of that. Alright, what else do I need to do? Win 2 games, any class, so I can just play any game I want, I guess. Control Priest? Let's try Control Priest. Gamatsu has an article, Conception Plus details game systems. Let's see. There's battles. Busy battles with 13 party members. That seems really high. It's coming out to the PS4 this winter in Japan. It may not come to the West.
Anduin versus
Seems like it's a Persona-esque JRPG
The light
type
shall
game.
bring victory.
Not getting a lot of information about it. We have a game on Steam called July the Lost Child. I feel like I'm going to lose my voice at a point here. Let's take a sip of water. Says, you are July, a teenager wandering her outback home trying to find a missing father. On the night her estranged mother returns home after many years missing. It's tagged with indie, gore, violent, sexual content. I'm seeing a lot of dark screenshot syndrome in this. I can't really get a feeling of if there's any kind of consistent animation here or what's being animated. Some screenshots look one way, some look a different way. I think it's kind of a low detail pixely images. I think they're trying to be surreal, but I don't think they're really succeeding. July the Lost Child is $3.99. The only thing that I might save this would be if this developer had made something else, and they haven't. So yeah, that leaves me uninterested in July the Lost Child. There's only been 2 games so far that came out over the weekend and that we had left over from Friday that have even caught my attention to go to the wish list. I imagine that is going to happen more and more because we will just run into scenarios of not a ton of unknown and unexpected really good games becoming available. Everything else we're gonna see is totally something we.
I can't do that.
That was
Right
dumb.
away.
That was real dumb.
Job's done.
Oh.
Alright, next game we have on Steam is called Love Hentai Sexy Bodies. This is a match 2 game. Again, you flip over cards and you see, again, objectified images of anime girls. Objectified in the sense that their heads are cut off and it's just showing cleavage or butts. I would say, though, that the polish on this is slightly better than most of these extremely low effort games. The fact that it has a flipping animation and actually looks like if these were legitimate images, they would work pretty well. But yeah, this is just a troll game, clearly, or at least what Valve is calling troll games. Low effort game. 40% off for 59 cents in 2 bundles. Also 32 achievements. Still feels like some of the developers of these troll games are not really getting blocked. The next game we have on Steam is called Super Furry Puzzles, which this is a sliding puzzle game with images of animated furry creatures in provocative and sometimes nude, according to the tag connections. 10 achievements, 10% off for 89 cents. And it was called Hinted Devil Puzzle before, so like the inconsistent names also are a big issue, where somehow you're just able to change your name and get your game allowed back onto the Steam for at least a brief amount of time. So clearly, if I was to guess, there's a process where if you name your game something, it can get rejected. And then, well, it doesn't get rejected immediately. It gets allowed on Steam, but then it gets taken down. And then you're probably sent an email where you have to change your name. And then you can just change your name without changing any of the quality of the game. And then that will let it back on Steam until it gets flagged again for a different reason. Here we have a game called Brave New World, which is ironic considering this is a Chinese only game. This is a rather ironic name. Let's see. I kind of like the animation style in this game. Unfortunately, it's Chinese only. Visual novel, $3.99. It's rated 87% positive with 16 user reviews. Next we have a game on Steam called Siege Battle of Ashington, Ashington. It looks like it's an asset flip game where you're probably just setting up. No, actually looks like it's a VR. You're running down a bridge fighting skeleton hordes that will run towards you and attack. I bet you're not walking at all. I bet you're standing in place. It's 40% off for $1.79. It doesn't really look that interesting. 40% off for $1.79. I think I just said that. So you seem to be playing with two blades that can maybe do some magic or maybe just reflects magic. Looks like it would be a pretty intense VR game to play, having blood and guts flying. Yeah, I don't know if that would be acceptable in VR, to imply to somebody that they're getting stabbed and that they're actually being hurt and that there's blood flying out of their body. That might be a little too intense for most people. And it's not something that I think has been fully addressed yet. So close that tab. Next we have a game on Steam called Solar Fighters. It seems like it's a fighting game with some weird looking elemental characters, as best as I would call them. Like a female elemental version of things. This is a single player and multiplayer. This really feels like somebody has an idea for a whole new style of characters, because this is a pretty unique looking animations, and they decided to build a fighting game around that. I'm not sure if that is going to inherently work.
Pain, speak to me.
There's 5 characters in this game. Let's see, Gaia, Luna, Warseeker. There's 5 areas, backgrounds, where you can fight. And the fighting game probably isn't that good. To be honest, it's early access, it's $4.99. The thing that would really get me on this game that's in English and Portuguese, thing that would really convince me that this is a great game is if this developer has made something else. Unfortunately, no, he hasn't. Yeah, nice character models aside, it still doesn't really look like something I would spend the time to play. There's too many other fighting games I would play first. Next we have a game on Steam called Drunken Bar Fight on Halloween, which seems like there's almost certainly a game called Drunken Bar Fight already. It's a VR game, $2.99. Price is probably right. Yeah, there's one called just Drunken Bar Fight that came out in 2016. Knowing what it is, knowing that it's a joke of a game where a bunch of zombies are going to show up in this bar and you're going to pick up things and throw them. You're going to have a gun and you're going to be able to shoot that gun.
I comply. Bring the pain quickly.
Yeah, it's not a terrible looking game, and the price is pretty low. So if you just really wanted a VR game that was fighting zombies in a drunken bar fight in a very small bar with probably what seems to be pretty limited options, that option is there. Moving on, we have a game called Gonzo VR. Gonzo is a live real-world VR broadcast experience where you can watch and chat in real time with streamers during scheduled broadcasts. Collaborate, control a VR camera by driving it around on an RC camera and interact with elements in the real world. This is like a service that probably would last a week, and then they've got your money and run around with it. Like, there have been ridiculous things like this done before, but this is the first time it's been allowed. It's been on Steam, to my knowledge.
Bring the pain. I comply. Let the pain speak to me.
This game is early access and free to play, but it has a bunch of in-app purchases. I'm guessing, because it does have in-app purchases. See, I think what this eventually is just going to boil down to is the female that's shown in the video talking dirty to the screen, and it just breaking down into a straight porn, if I was to guess. Alright, let's keep on moving. TechRaptor has an article for the Wander Song review, saving the world one music note at a time. This game, Wander Song, is kind of a sleeper surprise to me. Like, I had not heard of it coming out or anything like that. And then just all of a sudden, it's out and available for purchase. And it definitely has a musical feel to it, because the whole game is based on music. Like, what was that game I played? Loom? Like a new and improved, better version of something like Loom. Which I think would be pretty cool to play at some point. Skip down to the bottom of TechRaptor's article, because I really don't even want to spoil it on myself. They gave it an 8.5 great, Summary is Wandersong takes an innovative spin on adventure genre by incorporating a quirky musical bard on a journey to save the world. Learn the Earth Song not only requires seeking out overseers, but winning the affection of helpful strangers along the way. He has its perks as well. Do you have a harmonic voice the world needs to survive? The pros are innovative gameplay, adoring characters, beautiful music compositions, engaging story. The cons, there are no manual saves, and occasionally mundane quests. So yeah, Earth Song, definitely one that, Wandersong, definitely one game I do want on Steam. So I'll put that on my wish list. But that's, at this point, 2+ hours into the streams, that's like the third game I've even wanted to wish list. We've got a game on Steam called Little Bug. It's 100% positive with 11 user reviews. Let's see. Seems like it's a platformer adventure game. You're platforming and swinging, and there's a bug that's flying around and trying to help you. And it's a very surreal adventure. It looks good, it looks interesting. So, Little Bug is 10% off for $8.99. There's slight danger there that it might be too expensive for its length of time. But yeah, Little Bug, another one going to the wish list. I kind of miss the fact that a lot of these games probably were covered by other sources that I've just stopped listening to in pre-order announcements. So I'm kind of disliking the fact that I'm not hyped about these games until they come out, but I think I need to just personally get over it. Like that, the right way to look at games is to see them when they come out and evaluate them then, or probably wait a couple of weeks and see what the reviews say. Be as informed a consumer as you can be while still staying somewhat within the general zeitgeist of the video game community. We've got a game on Steam called Armajet, A-R-M-A-J-E-T. Says it's a unique 2.5D multiplayer jetpack combat game. Let's see what it looks like. It looks kind of like a Smash Brothers clone with guns that you can upgrade. It's 85% positive for 41 user reviews, but it's only online multiplayer and it's early access. It's free to play, so that's not too bad. But for me, I'm not interested.
I don't need any of you.
Next we have a game on Steam called Skater Cali, C-A-L-L-Y. It seems like it's a pixel graphics endless runner skating game. It seems pretty fast paced, which is cool. When she crashes, it brings up a bone breaking diagram showing just where she's broken her bones. And you do all kinds of combos and tricks. I'm trying to think back of the few sporting games, skating games, biking games that I played in the old days that were 3D. If going with a flat 2D design of levels is possibly a better idea. I'm only supposed to be winning, so I'm gonna just switch over to Odd Paladin. Skater Cali has 37 achievements. It's 15% off for $5.94. It seems like it's a little expensive. definitely. But it does say it has 117 levels across 4 areas. There's how many different moves, I wonder. Responsive trick list system includes flip tricks, grabs, grinds, gaps, manuals, and special tricks. And you're getting bonuses for doing more tricks. I'm gonna put this game on my wish list. Skater Cali does sound like it's interesting. To my knowledge, there's not any other skating game out there on Steam that's better, but that's probably because I've been out of it. Interesting, this developer also has made a game called Cali's Cave, so he seems to use Cali as a character. There's a Cali's Caves 3 and a Cali's Caves 4. See, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like some developer putting his daughter in the game.
I must move quickly.
Let's see. Gotta pay attention to what I'm doing over here. When you look at the more like this on Steam, it's saying Wreckfest and Rocket League and Counter-Strike Pro. So, Nier Automata, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Valkyrie, Chronicles 4. It's just like the biggest skating games possible. So yeah, if there is a better skating game on Steam, I don't know what it is. So Skater Cali is gonna go on the wish list at least until there's better reviews or I can think of something better. Next we have on Steam V-Rally 4 Day 1 Edition. This game is mixed 68% of 45 user reviews. There's so many racing games out there. Anything that gets mixed reviews should just be ignored originally. This game is $49.99 with no discount. For the main edition, the Day 1 edition, it's $57.57 for the Ultimate Edition, and you get a 10% bundle discount there. Let's see what the reviews say, why it's so negatively reviewed. Let's see.
That's incredible.
Here, there's a part of this that says it's too arcade for me, felt nearer to FM7 and FB lag. It wasn't connected to the ground. So just general performance issues, it seems like is the complaint. It just does not feel like you're actually driving. Yeah, really expensive racing game with mixed reviews, easy enough to close that tab and move on.
Converting stored energy. That's incredible.
Reporting for duty. The battle! The battle!
Next we have a game on Steam called Only Shadows Left Behind. It looks like it's a Contra-esque game, although the animation's not very good. It's English and Russian. It's 30 cents for $2.79. I think in general I can just say the level of quality is not worth that price and move on. Just keep on.
That's incredible.
This.
The battle! The battle!
Let's see, we have a game on Steam called Heaven, H-E-V-N. This says it's a sci-fi adventure set in an isolated planetoid orbiting a star. And it looks like you're going to end up shooting things, or putting out fires, or escaping. There's enough here in the visuals to say it's slightly interesting. It looks kind of like a Prey-esque game. It's $19.99. It's good enough to wait till there's some more user reviews, so I'll put Heaven on the wish list. Next game we have on Steam is called Pleasure Puzzles Portrait. At a certain point, we need to we need to start filtering out so many of these games. The difference I would say about this one is it's 100 beautiful pictures of like slide puzzles, but they're not animated characters. These are, well, they are animated characters, they're not anime characters. They're very Western, drawn to be as realistic looking as possible portraits of women. From what I'm seeing, none of the portraits even have any... they are busts in the fact that they cut off above the busts, so there's no cleavage or anything in any of the pictures I'm seeing. So yeah, I don't know why you'd even want to play this game since it's selling itself as it is. I would guess what this is it's a Chinese game designed to not be censored in China, so it's trying very much to stay in the on the good side of the censors.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it says simplified Chinese is the second language listed in 100 Steam achievements for 99 cents, so you know it's an achievement game. Again, these low-effort Chinese games probably would have made it to Steam if China was approving them on Wii Game or any other Chinese service. Okay, well that puts us done with that. So now it's time to switch right back to the European account. And let's do the Spelunker challenge. And I think I can kind of wrap up here, and we may be just at the 1 hour mark by the time I'm done, or even a little shorter than an hour, and I think that'd be fine too. It looks like I'm in a good position. Dungeon run bosses. I'm in a good position to get this all done and move on, and potentially even have some extra time to go back to Borderlands 2 and hop back on that issue. Next game we have on Steam is called Rhombus Legends. It's mixed, 52% of 25 user reviews. Honestly, mixed reviews so early in a game probably immediately negates playing this game. This is an English-Russian game for its languages. It's free to play. Mixed on free to play probably eliminates it too. The first review I see is terrible card game where the player who goes second is almost guaranteed to win because whoever gets first kill is such a major advantage the other player can't catch up. The UI is clunky, controls aren't particularly responsive, and the complete lack of drag and drop is counterintuitive for a card game. So close that tab. I've heard enough of that. Next we have a game on Steam called Crystal War. Let's see what this is. Some kind of VR game, dual shooter. Standing in place, I assume, shooting enemies, aliens that are running towards you. Let's see. This game is 40% off for $5.99. And honestly, I've seen enough already to know I'm not interested in it. Let's see. This is also from the same developer that made Siege Battle of Ashington. So they released Crystal War on September 25th, and 6 days later, 7 days later maybe, I can't do the math in my head, on October 1st they released Siege Battle of Washington. So you definitely have an issue of a character, a developer who's trying to flood the Steam market with their game. Closing that tab, we get to the game Multi-Bombers. It's based off the hit game Bomberman, according to the description, but it certainly isn't from the developers or the publishers that own Bomberman. And yeah, this is a 3D game where you're walking around a maze made out of metal fences, and there are like buttons you can place bombs, apparently, or maybe the buttons I'm seeing are the bombs. Bomberman in 3D, not a terrible idea. Like, it's not the worst thought ever, or in VR, but it is going to introduce a lot of like exhaustion to a player and motion sickness. This game also is only multiplayer, so I can reject that immediately for that. It's early access and free to play. Like, I could kind of see this idea taking off had it been made by a reputable company and not somebody who is just making a Bomberman clone and using Bomberman as their own idea. The other game that this developer is working on, and it's not even out yet, is Lucifer's 9 Trophies, which looks like an asset flip game, and so does Multi-Bombers. Alright.
I'll show them. I'll show them.
Next we have a game, an RPG, called Banana Girl. I'm pretty sure this is a Chinese RPG maker game. There's this girl character who looks pretty skinny, like a banana, I guess is the only thing I'd describe it there. It says it's an English, Japanese, simplified Chinese, and traditional Chinese, and it's coming soon, and I kind of question that. Like, I don't think it's a Japanese game. If it is, it's a real bad one. And apparently this game was supposed to come out September 22nd and it didn't. And the only other game this developer has made is one called Agent Girl, and it seems like it's pretty much the exact same type of game, a cheap RPG maker game. I have to remember while I'm doing these type of games, I won't ever it will never bring out the rope, because I can just take as much time as I want on a single player experience. Next we have a game called Bad Day Betsy, which is an extremely low effort troll game basically, where you play as a woman in a black lingerie underwear, or just black underwear. It's not even lingerie, it's just black bra and panties, and it's a fighting game where she is just hitting both men and women in their groins, and that seems like that's all the game is. And each character has like 3 different ways, whether it's a knee, a full kick, or a punch, and that's all this game is. It's ridiculous. You know what's stupid too is some of this stuff, games like Bad Day Betsy, look worse than the joke games that were released for Windows 95. Like, sure, there were some joke games where you might have made a game exactly like that, but it would have been a lot more polished, it would have had a lot more effort to it, and even as a joke, the developer would have some pride behind their work. It's not just some person out there that thinks they can make $3.99 selling a game because it looks funny. Yeah, Bad Day Betsy looks ridiculous. This is a straight up trolling game. Maybe just because it's trolling in the idea of asking you to pay any money for it. That might be the only real thing that describes it as a trolling game. Next we have a game called Grail, G-R-A-L. This is one of these fancy looking high speed racing games.
Job's done.
Like F-Zero. Seems like you can shoot bullets ahead of you. Sort of like Mario Kart. Looks pretty good. You can drive on the ceiling in some places. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that's bad about this game. It's early access, it's $19.99. I think I'll put it on the wish list and see if it gets any popularity. It could be actually a really good racing game. This might be one of the very few games that will unfortunately get missed. And if that becomes the truth, then I guess that's just how it will be. Yeah, this actually looks good. It's the first game from this developer, so it's gonna go on the wish list. We have a game called Vagrant Fury. Let's see. It's a blocky Roblox looking game. I'm trying to see what it's a top down, or actually third, slightly slanted perspective. It's the equivalent of a top down twin stick shooter game, but at a side perspective to make it look 2.5D.
Good news, everyone! I perfected the plague. Fools!
Job's done.
Yeah, I don't see anything about Vagrant Fury that's interesting. It's $7.99. Just close that. Next we have a game on Steam called Tales of the Wedding Rings VR. It says it's a unique and brand new manga experience for VR brought to you by Square Enix. Interesting idea, I suppose. It doesn't make a lot of sense on why you would bring a manga to VR. Though, like, because mangas are known to be made cheaply and not cost a lot, and that's why they're not colorized, and that's why they're printed on relatively cheap paper. The idea of putting extra effort and extra expense to animate the panels as they seem to be animated seems kind of silly. Like, it seems like a kind of crazy experiment. It's $19.99. Let's see. Enter the iconic monochrome world of a Japanese manga and experience Tales of Wedding Rings, a story about an average high school girl named Saito, S-A-T-O-U. Well, I bet you're playing as a guy named Saito, who receives an unexpected email from Hime, H-I-M-E, the mysterious girl living next door that leads to the adventure of a lifetime. And that's kind of all they're doing. What's interesting about the video that's on Steam is that they're interviewing the Japanese creator, something you basically would never have happen. And they're showing like the voice actors in the video. I have no idea what the story is about, though. They're really not giving you any clue. I think you'd find this kind of annoying, though. Honestly. Like, being in 3D VR and looking at black and white panels, I can't imagine that is going to turn out to be fun. So do I wishlist this to follow it, or do I just close it? Is the question. I guess I just close it. Like, I couldn't really care to read a manga, and how could I even criticize this? They're kind of telling you immediately it's not even a game, because it's not. If it's a manga, it's gonna have very limited interactive experiences.
Done.
Well, that killed everything. Next we have a game called Biodigital. It looks like it's probably an asset flip game. Let's see. It says, experience the singularity in this fictional story set in 2117. Biodigital tells the story of how humans decided to download their minds into machines. What I'm seeing here is just a lot of random assets. Like, that's all I'm seeing. It's just a ton of assets merged together. The game is free, I suppose. The price is right for Biodigital. I'm a little lost on that, which is fine.
Hold still.
Just go back.
Looks cool. Yes.
I'm not sure I've ever fought that character before. And we'll just stick with Hunter. Maybe one of these days I'll make it all the way to the end on these other accounts. We have a game called the Steadfast VR Challenge. They say it's a hybrid first-person shooter and tower defense that forces you to incorporate strategy and marksmanship. Seems like you're standing in a single place shooting guns. Maybe you can move from one tower to another. You're the character on the tower and you're shooting guns and bazookas at tanks. It has a cartoony animation style that's probably fine. It might be a little odd in VR. I still kind of feel like VR would be better suited for only hyper-realistic games, or at least as close as you can get. Steadfast VR is 15% off for $12.74. In the end, anything that has tower defense in the name is probably not worth buying, so yeah, I'm not willing to give it a chance. First game from this developer. Only a few more games to play. This next game is interesting looking. It's called Dark Deception. It says it's a story-driven first-person horror maze game. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to catch your breath. Run or die, it's your choice. Trapped in a realm of nightmarish mazes with a mysterious woman, your only hope to survival is to find your way out. What this looks like is it's probably trying to have a monster like the Five Nights at Freddy's monsters, but in a weird way it's Pac-Man too, because on the left of your screen you see the maze that may be an ever-growing and expanding maze, or maybe it gets bigger each level, and in each hallway there are these purple shards, and you're supposed to run into the purple shards and collect them while these monkeys with giant fangs and blood around their mouths are chasing you, or humans in giant monkey suits. And then the women that they were talking about is shown in the screenshot. I didn't see it in the actual video game. Seems to be wearing a black leather outfit and have long white hair with some cleavage showing. But I didn't see her actually play any role in the game. So the idea of a 3D Pac-Man game, probably a little bit more interesting than a 3D Bomberman game. But I don't know why you would do that and have the horror element mixed together. I guess what it does is it does allow for you to play a little bit differently with a Five Nights at Freddy's horror style idea. Dark Deception is free, and apparently they're gonna make a chapter 2. It's rated very positively. Well, for a free game that's rated positively, I guess I'll put it on my follow list. Maybe they just found the right price there to overlook the fact that it seems a little rough as an idea. Let's see, I need one more victory, so we might be good. Battle tries trigger twice. Let's take secrets. Next we have a game on Steam called Dimension Drifter. It says it's a action game with gore or early access. You're one of the most dangerous people in the world. Our timeline has collapsed hundreds of years ago. Since then, the ancient gods have emerged through cracks in reality, shaping it to a twisted realm of chaos. You are the only one who can stop them. Get ready. Okay, that is just an insane garbage of words. What I'm saying is you're playing as this blonde-haired girl. I guess doesn't always have to be blonde-haired. It seems like you can customize the character's outfit and hair color. You're playing as this girl. She has guns, shotguns, and a sword on her back, samurai sword. I don't know if I saw or actually ever used the samurai sword. Okay, for like 1 second she used it. And then there's a constant barrage of enemies running towards you that look to be random asset enemies. While this does seem like it has some polish on the main character, I don't think it's because of this developer of this game. I think this is just an asset flip where they found a good character model and then they put it in a very generic and basic game. The UI, it does have some work put into it, but it still doesn't look amazingly good. Single player only, 13 achievements, early access $15, 15% off for $16.99.
I don't have enough money.
So it seems like really expensive for what it seems to be. Let's see, what was the reviews on this? That would be the only saving grace, I guess, at this point. It's 5 user reviews, needs more. This developer made a game called Super Panda Adventures and Gun Girl 2 and Unloved before. No, I don't think this developer is making a good enough quality product. It feels like it's a little too low effort. It's very much on the edge, though. Like I could see my mind getting changed. if they came out with just one good thing. One really good thing. Next we have a game called Humdrum Experiences. Take the role of a person hovering between life and death, journey through the vibrant world while collecting masks which help you along your adventure. Moral ambiguity, questionable ethics, and fully fleshed out characters await in this new RPG adventure. Alright. That's a slightly intriguing description. But what is the real game about? What does the real game look like? It seems like at points it gets you walk around what I'm kind of guessing is an asset flipped world, and there's some very weird looking characters that don't seem to quite match. Like, there's just a bunch of randomness. I'm having a real hard time seeing a consistent thought in this.
I hunt alone.
See, it seems like it's a half anime visual novel and half adventure escape a room point and click type game, and half just insanity. And I know that's three halves, but I think that's probably about an accurate description. And I'm watching all of the trailer video, and I still cannot get a clue what Humdrum Experiences is. Let's see. The one recommended review, the first one I saw, says this is a weird game. I mean really weird. Yeah, it's too weird for me. And that's saying something. Let's see. We'll do one more game, and then that'll be it for the stream. We'll have everything done that needs to be done. Alright, we have a game on Steam called Merrily Perily. That's M-E-R-R-I-L-Y space P-E-R-I-L-L-Y. It says it's a game about crisis.
Let the hunt
What I think the trick is you go to a certain spot and you cause yourself to be in crisis, and then you have to run around on the map to find a solution to that crisis. So at the beginning it says you're dying of dehydration, and then I think when you get to the fountain and drink water, it turns out that you get bitten by a snake. And so it's a constant idea of you just cannot get yourself out of being in some kind of crisis, and you have like a timer to do it. There's 8 achievements. It's $3.99. It says it has 1,200 lines of dialogue, which seems interesting. It has both jokes and secret jokes. The animation is pretty good too. This is from the developer of TikTok Isle, which is rated very positive at 91% of 110 users, which also is a game I probably should put on my wishlist, or make sure I have it on my wishlist. Yeah, I think Merrily Perily is a justifiable game to wishlist. It's a little weird, certainly, but not too bad. Next we have a game called Alchema, A-L-C-H-E-M-I-A. Alchema is a cryptic puzzle game where which is solved through research outside of the game. So basically, you have this nice looking book, but then the book just kind of tells you some puzzles, and you have to solve them by then alt tabbing out to your browser and just doing investigation. And that sounds pretty annoying. This game only has one achievement, so I imagine it imagines itself to be pretty difficult. It's $1.99. Let's see. The problem there is you're making a game that has an interesting premise, but it also doesn't really work. What you would have wanted to do in this idea is had a bookshelf with the puzzle book being the first book you open, and then on the bookshelf are several other books that would have bits of hints towards many puzzles, but also a lot of like false flags and red herrings and different ways that you could where it would just give you too much information for you to read all the books and know everything and know the solution. You'd have to actually know what you're looking for. And if you'd put a little bit more work into it, that would have been nice. This is from the developer of a game I liked before called Hex Cells and Square Cells and Cross Cells. He certainly squeezed a lot of money out of people with the Cells series, but they're a pretty good simple puzzle game. Going to Alkema, it seems like he's stepping up his amount of polish, at least visually. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could really play this game, or if I could really use it as something to criticize. Kind of just depends, because it would be me looking up answers on my cell phone in the game.
What lurks in the depths?
Because, yeah, I really couldn't do it any other way. I'm gonna kind of put this game on my wish list anyways, though, because of the fact that it's made by Matthew Brown, the creators of the Hexel series, just to see if it gets a lot of reviews. Because if it does, that would be interesting. Let's see. This. We have a game called Deliver Us the Moon Fortuna. It's rated 77% positive, but 44 user reviews. It says a lone astronaut is sent to the moon on a critical mission to save humanity from extinction. Seems like it's a space sci-fi game of some sort. Action adventure. And it has some polish to it. It looks pretty good. I'm dangerously close to rejecting it for no reason. So I'm probably getting a little tired at this point. It's 10% off for $17.99. That seems a little high, certainly, but the high rating tells me this should go on the wish list and we should keep an eye on it. We're almost done here. Next we have a game called Sleeping Dawn VR, which is a survival horror co-op game, which means I'd never really play it. So it says it has a single player, but it requires VR. Let's see, whenever you cast a spell and a minion at the same cost. Let's see, let's just go back and do that. Sleeping Dawn VR. Yeah, it kind of looks like a weird asset flip type idea of a game. I'm not getting a lot of dark screenshot syndrome going on here. also. So let's close that tab. There was a Game of Switch article left. Steam's downfall would be a blow to the creative freedom of the devs, argues Larian CEO. That's Larian. I assume Larian is a video game company. Let's see if we can find that out. Larian Studios is, let's see, a German game developer, it seems like. Yeah, and without really reading the article, I can definitely agree with that sentiment. Like, Steam, if it would ever fail, would be terrible for the video game industry. There's really no way to get around that. It would just be less choice. We have a game on Steam called Bloodbound Into the Shroud. It says it's a third-person, story-driven RPG adventure. No user reviews. It looks not the greatest graphics, but it looks like it's also maybe not an asset flip. Single player only. No, I don't think it has enough polish on it. You play as a Viking heroine on a mission to rescue her mother, teaming up with her estranged father figure. Encounter beautiful and dangerous environments of Jotunheim as you transverse. No, it seems like it's too much of an asset flip game for me. That's 25% off early access for $11.99. And that puts us at the Humble Bundle store. And is there any new bundles? Let's see. The one special day Humble Bundle sale, which included Guardians of the Galaxy for Telltale Games, is about to end. But yeah, no other real new important ones. Just some book bundles. And let's see. Layers of Fear is processing. Seventh Guest is processing. You can get Darksiders War Mastered editions for Windows if you have Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, and Sanitarium. And I say claim all of this, and Soma, and System Shock Enhanced Edition. So with the new month, new games are available with Twitch Prime. And as I say often at the end of these streams, I'm not going to make you listen to me stream, scroll down my Twitter feed. So this is as good of a point as any to end this stream. Worked pretty good. We caught up. Barring any further problems, I plan to spend most of the next of this week trying to do Borderlands 2 and at least make sure there's enough for November for that. There very possibly won't be anything else airing in November besides Borderlands 2, and assuming I schedule it, some more Boomsday Puzzle Solutions. Thanks to everybody who talked on the chat. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, you can gift me a game on Steam or support me through Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.